In the ancient, windswept kingdom of Velmora, where the stars burned red with forgotten truths and the moon hung low like a silent witness to sin, there ruled a man whose soul was as shadowed as his crown was golden. King Aldrich of House Ilarion, feared by nations and worshipped by his own, bore a secret that throbbed within his chest like a second heartbeat, a truth so damning that the very soil of Velmora might split open and swallow his legacy whole. Though his throne was high and his name eternalized in steel and fire, Aldrich had broken the sacred covenant of the royal line, the unyielding tradition that no seed of a king should ever be spilled outside the bounds of crowned union. And yet, 5 months prior, beneath the blood moon that cast the sky in cruel crimson, Aldrich had done what no man of his name had dared in centuries. He had laid with a woman not of royal blood, a woman of the earth, a healer from the forested north whose voice whispered of storms, and whose hands knew both mercy and war. Her name was Elira, and in that moment of grief, after the death of his only son, the young Prince Cassian, Aldrich had sought warmth in her arms, not knowing that warmth would become flame, and that flame a curse. Now, Elira carried his child, a child born of sorrow and blood, a child prophesied by the dying oracle generations ago, a child born beneath the blood moon, from a womb not crowned in gold, shall bring the fall of kings. That prophecy, long buried beneath myths and mistranslations, had clawed its way back to life in the king's mind every night since. He had tried to forget her, tried to bury her memory in war councils and diplomatic banquets, but the scent of her hair haunted him like incense in a crypt. No one in the castle knew. Not Queen Lysandra, whose eyes had dulled to ice over the years. Not Commander Tarith, whose loyalty to the throne bordered on worship. Not even Sorin, the king's younger brother, whose ambition simmered just beneath his polished exterior. Only Aldrich and Elira carried the truth, and it grew daily in her womb like a quiet revolution. Elira had vanished after that night, taking only a small pouch of herbs and the king's secret with her into the wilds. But fate, that ancient beast, was not finished. For as Elira's belly grew round with the child of a king, so too did whispers grow among the mountain folk, of a woman who dreamed of fire, of a baby who kicked when the moon bled red, of a curse old as the throne itself. Meanwhile, in Castle Deragon, Aldrich wrestled with a dilemma no sword could solve. Should he find her, and silence her? Should he bring her back, and hide the child? Should he kill what had not yet been born? Or should he protect it, knowing full well that the babe might one day be the architect of his ruin? These were not the questions of a king. They were the questions of a man who had become his own prisoner. And while Aldrich waged war in his mind, beyond the icy river, a hunter with no name arrived in the northern woods. Paid in sapphires by a faceless noble, he sought only one thing, a pregnant woman with amber eyes, who spoke to the moon and carried royalty in her blood. But Elira was no longer just a healer. She had become a mother, a vessel of power, and power draws danger like rot draws flies. In a ruined chapel buried beneath snow, she gave birth beneath the blood moon's return, her screams echoing into the mountains like ancient war cries. The child, a boy, did not cry at birth. He simply opened his eyes, grey as ash, and stared at the stars with knowing, as if he had returned, not arrived. Elira named him Kaelan, a name whispered to her in dreams, and swore he would never know his father, never know the throne that cursed him before he breathed. But fate, ever cruel, had other plans. In the castle, Queen Lysandra began to dream. In her sleep, a woman's voice whispered to her, "Your womb is empty. but his is not. A queen you are, but not the mother of kings. These dreams rotted her mind with paranoia and rage. She ordered the archives searched, old prophecies read, every midwife questioned. The court grew tense. Shadows moved in daylight. Ravens flew south with messages none dared open. Commander Tarith was sent north with 10 riders and secret orders: find the woman, bring her back, kill the child. And so the hunt began, not just for a woman or a child, but for the unraveling of an entire kingdom. In the deep north, Illyra ran, her child strapped to her chest, her hands bloodied from battle and birth alike. One by one, the king's men found her, and one by one, they fell, some to her blade, some to the frost, some to the strange misfortunes that seemed to follow the child. For Kaelan was no ordinary babe. Animals bowed before him. Storms quieted when he cried. And when the moon turned red, those near him dreamed of their deaths. Whispers grew louder. The Moonborn Heir, they called him. The Ghost Prince. And in the village taverns, they no longer sang of King Aldrich the Unshaken, but of a boy in the snow, born of fire and sorrow, destined to end a dynasty. When word finally reached Aldrich that the boy lived, that his knights had failed, he rode alone into the north, without crown or guard. Not as a king, but as a man chasing his sins. What he found would haunt him for the rest of his cursed days. If you want watch part 2, type comment upload part 2. Thank you.